A motherboard, also called main board, main circuit board, MB board, backplane board, baseboard, system board, MOBO, or in Apple computers logic board, is the main printed circuit board, PCB, in general-purpose computers and other expandable systems. It holds and allows communication between many of the crucial electronic components of a system, such as the central processing unit, CPU, and memory, and provides connectors for other peripherals. Unlike a backplane, a motherboard usually contains significant subsystems, such as the central processor, the chipset's input/output and memory controllers, interface connectors, and other components integrated for general use. Motherboard means specifically a PCB with expansion capabilities. As the name suggests, this board is often referred to as the mother of all components attached to it, which often include peripherals, interface cards, and daughter boards, sound cards, video cards, network cards, host bus adapters, TV tuner cards, IEEE 1394 cards, and a variety of other custom components. The term mainboard describes a device with a single board and no additional expansions or capability, such as controlling boards in laser printers, television sets, washing machines, mobile phones, and other embedded systems with limited expansion abilities. A motherboard provides the electrical connections by which the other components of the system communicate. Unlike a backplane, it also contains the central processing unit and hosts other subsystems and devices. A typical desktop computer has its microprocessor, main memory, and other essential components connected to the motherboard. Other components such as external storage, controllers for video display and sound, and peripheral devices may be attached to the motherboard as plug-in cards or via cables. In modern microcomputers, it is increasingly common to integrate some of these peripherals into the motherboard itself. An important component of a motherboard is the microprocessor's supporting chipset, which provides the supporting interfaces between the CPU and the various buses and external components. This chipset determines, to an extent, the features and capabilities of the motherboard. Modern motherboards include CPU sockets, or CPU slots, in which one or more microprocessors may be installed. In the case of CPUs in ball grid array packages, such as the VIA Nano and the Gold Mont Plus, the CPU is directly soldered to the motherboard. 2. Memory slots into which the system's main memory is to be installed, typically in the form of DIMM modules containing DRAM chips. Can be DDR3, DDR4, DDR5, or onboard LPDDR-X. The chipset which forms an interface between the CPU, main memory, and peripheral buses. Non-volatile memory chips, usually flash memory in modern motherboards, containing the system's firmware or BIOS. The clock generator which produces the system clock signal to synchronize the various components. Slots for expansion cards, the interface to the system via the buses supported by the chipset. Power connectors, which receive electrical power from the computer power supply and distribute it to the CPU, chipset, main memory, and expansion cards. As of 2007, some graphics cards, e.g. GeForce 8 and Radeon R600, require more power than the motherboard can provide, and thus dedicated connectors have been introduced to attach them directly to the power supply. Connectors for hard disk drives, optical disk drives, or solid-state drives, typically SATA and NVMe now. Additionally, nearly all motherboards include logic and connectors to support commonly used input devices, such as USB for mouse devices and keyboards. Early personal computers such as the Apple II or IBM PC included only this minimal peripheral support on the motherboard. Occasionally video interface hardware was also integrated into the motherboard, for example, on the Apple II and rarely on IBM-compatible computers such as the IBM PC Jr. Additional peripherals such as disk controllers and serial ports were provided as expansion cards. Given the high thermal design power of high-speed computer CPUs and components, modern motherboards nearly always include heat sinks and mounting points for fans to dissipate excess heat. The motherboard serves as a single platform to connect all of the parts of a computer together. It connects the CPU, memory, hard drives, optical drives, video card, sound card, and other ports and expansion cards directly or via cables. It can be considered as the backbone of a computer. Features of motherboard. A motherboard comes with following features. Motherboard varies greatly in supporting various types of components. Motherboard supports a single type of CPU and few types of memories. Video cards, hard disks, sound cards have to be compatible with the motherboard to function properly. Motherboards, cases, and power supplies must be compatible to work properly together. Popular manufacturers. Following are the popular manufacturers of the motherboard: Intel, Asus, AOpen, Abit, Biostar, Gigabyte, MSI. Description of motherboard. The motherboard is mounted inside the case and is securely attached via small screws through pre-drilled holes. Motherboard contains ports to connect all of the internal components. It provides a single socket for CPU, whereas for memory, normally one or more slots are available. Motherboards provide ports to attach the floppy drive, hard drive, and optical drives via ribbon cables. Motherboard carries fans and a special port designed for power supply. There is a peripheral card slot in front of the motherboard using which video cards, sound cards, and other expansion cards can be connected to the motherboard. On the left side, motherboards carry a number of ports to connect the monitor, printer, mouse, keyboard, speaker, and network cables. Motherboards also provide USB ports, which allow compatible devices to be connected in plug-in/plug-out fashion. For example, pen drive, digital cameras, etc. Memory unit is the amount of data that can be stored in the storage unit. This storage capacity is expressed in terms of bytes. The following table explains the main memory storage units. Bit, binary digit. A binary digit is logical 0 and 1 representing a passive or an active state of a component in an electric circuit. Nibble, a group of 4 bits is called nibble. Byte, a group of 8 bits is called byte. A byte is the smallest unit, which can represent a data item or a character. Word, a computer word, like a byte, is a group of fixed number of bits processed as a unit, which varies from computer to computer but is fixed for each computer. The length of a computer word is called word size or word length. It may be as small as 8 bits or may be as long as 96 bits. A computer stores the information in the form of computer words. The following table lists some higher storage units. Kilobyte, KB, 1 KB equals 1024 bytes. Megabyte, MB, 1 megabyte equals 1024 KB. Gigabyte, GB, 1 GB equals 1024 megabytes. Terabyte, TB, 1 TB equals 1024 GB. Petabyte, PB, 1 PB equals 1024 TB. A port is a physical docking point using which an external device can be connected to the computer. It can also be programmatic docking point through which information flows from a program to the computer or over the internet. A port has the following characteristics. External devices are connected to a computer using cables and ports. Ports are slots on the motherboard into which a cable of external device is plugged in. Examples of external devices attached via ports are the mouse, keyboard, monitor, microphone, speakers, etc. Let us now discuss a few important types of ports. Serial port. Used for external modems and older computer mouse. 2 versions, 9-pin, 25-pin model. Data travels at 115 kilobits per second. Parallel port. Used for scanners and printers. Also called printer port. 25-pin model. IEEE 1284 compliant Centronix port. PS/2 port. Used for old computer keyboard and mouse. Also called mouse port. Most of the old computers provide 2 PS/2 port, each for the mouse and keyboard. IEEE 1284 compliant Centronix port. Universal Serial Bus, or USB, port. It can connect all kinds of external USB devices such as external hard disk, printer, scanner, mouse, keyboard, etc. It was introduced in 1997. Most of the computers provide 2 USB ports as minimum. Data travels at 12 megabits per second. USB compliant devices can get power from a USB port. VGA port. Connects monitor to a computer's video card. It has 15 holes. Similar to the serial port connector. However, serial port connector has pins, VGA port has holes. Power connector. 3-pronged plug. Connects to the computer's power cable that plugs into a power bar or wall socket. Firewire port. Transfers large amount of data at very fast speed. Connects camcorders and video equipment to the computer. Data travels at 400 to 800 megabits per second. Invented by Apple. It has 3 variants: 4-pin Firewire 400 connector, 6-pin Firewire 400 connector, and 9-pin Firewire 800 connector. Modem port. Connects a PC's modem to the telephone network. Ethernet port. Connects to a network and high-speed internet. Connects the network cable to a computer. This port resides on an Ethernet card. Data travels at 10 megabits to 1000 megabits per second depending upon the network bandwidth. Game port. Connect a joystick to a PC. Now replaced by USB. Digital video interface, DVI port. Connects flat panel LCD monitor to the computer's high-end video graphic cards. Very popular among video card manufacturers. Sockets. Sockets connect the microphone and speakers to the sound card of the computer. Thank you for watching this video.